Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
Librarian who attacked Melania for donating racist Dr. Seuss books just got exposed. Melania Trump donated a set of Dr. Seuss books to one school in each of the 50 states. However, one angry librarian, Liz Phipps Soeiro, from Cambridge, Massachusetts refused to accept the books because Dr. Seuss is racist propaganda. It turns out, the weirdest part of the whole story is that just 2 years earlier Soeiro dressed up as Cat in the Hat at school. Basically, Dr. Seuss didn't become racist until it was associated with Melania Trump. Another fact that many people are unaware of is that Dr. Seuss's illustrations are steeped in racist propaganda, caricatures, and harmful stereotypes. Open one of his books, If I Ran a Zoo or and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street, for example, and you'll see the racist mockery in his art, wrote Soeiro in a letter to Melania. Grace Hwang Lynch's School Library Journal article, Is the Cat in the Hat Racist? Read Across America shifts away from Dr. Seuss and toward diverse books, reports on Katie Ishizuka's work analyzing the minstrel characteristics and trope nature of Seuss's characters, she wrote. Scholar Philip Nell's new book, Was the Cat in the Hat Black? The Hidden Racism of Children's Literature, and the Need for Diverse Books, further explores and shines a spotlight on the systemic racism and oppression in education and literature, she wrote. Liberals seem to be trying so hard to make the president look racist that they will say literally anything. NFL players just use their moms to scold Trump for using bad words, it's a new low. One frequent criticism of the multimillionaire NFL players who kneeled last weekend during the national anthem was that their protests were very similar to that of young boys acting out. It's quite fittingly juvenile, then, that these protesting players would rally their mothers to try to chastise President Donald Trump for using bad language. The Professional Football Players Mothers Association, PFMA, just sent President Trump a letter scolding him. Their open letter says, "We believe in promoting a positive image of professional football players as athletes and young men of character," the letter read. It saddens the FMA to know that President Donald Trump would make our sons, as well as their mothers, the target of inflammatory, offensive comments that are intended to promote anger and hatred, depleting them of their heritage and self-identity. The letter then says that the mothers support their sons' protesting actions, stating, "Whether it be by kneeling or standing with their arms locked, our sons have chosen this platform to get the message out about social justice and unity, and they will always have our support." It continues, "Now that we obviously have your attention, let's put a stop to the divisive language and start a productive dialogue for positive change. Do you think it's embarrassing that these childlike players are getting their own mothers to try to reprimand the US president on their behalf?" Rush Limbaugh exposes why the GOP can't afford for Trump to succeed. In his interview with Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh exposed why it seems like the GOP is so ineffective even though they control the Senate and the House. President Trump is trying as hard as he can, but it seems like the GOP is pushing back. Limbaugh just explained why. "Look, there isn't much conservatism in the establishment. There are Republicans and Democrats, but it's basically people who are pro-government, pro-Washington, think government and Washington is the center of the world," said Limbaugh. "They'll give occasional mentions of these things that you mention, these policies to placate voters. But going back to an original question you had here, they don't want Trump to succeed with his agenda. They can't afford that. I'm not exaggerating here and trying to say things for a soundbite that Fox replays the rest of the day. They don't want 5 days Rush," said Limbaugh. They can't afford for him to succeed with his agenda. They can't afford it. The lid's blown. The gig is over. The joke is revealed, said Limbaugh. If an outsider with no prior political experience can come in and fix messes that people have been promised would be fixed for 30 years, how does that make them look? They can't allow that to happen, said Limbaugh. Do you think he is right? Kaepernick caught red-handed donating huge amount of money to cop killer foundation. Unemployed football player Colin Kaepernick was just caught giving a huge amount of money to a cop killer organization. Over a year ago, Kaepernick started kneeling for the national anthem, and now many other players are following in his footsteps. He has said a large number of un-American and anti-police things, but this could be the worst. Assata Shakur was a member of the Black Liberation Army, who are described as a black nationalist guerrilla group. She was convicted of first-degree murder of State Trooper Werner Forster. She escaped from prison in 1979 and fled to Cuba, where she was granted political asylum. Kaepernick just donated $25,000 to a group honoring her called Assata's Daughters. We believe it is our duty to fight for our freedom. We come together and struggle as radical black feminists and organizers, under the shared respect, love and study of Assata Shakur, they wrote on their website. The grant includes $2,500 for Cop Watch, a program that trains volunteers to follow and video police, and $15,000 for teen training, part of the group's commitment to develop and train young people, ages 4 to 19, in the black queer feminist tradition and in the spirit of Assata, reports the Washington Times. Many people have been horrified by Kaepernick's support of this cop killer. Unbelievable that anyone would idolize a cop killer, said Rubio. CNN says that wanting to separate race from sports makes you white supremacist. Ever since President Trump made his stand against NFL players insulting our flag, the mainstream media has tried to call Trump a racist. However, President Trump denied that his comments had anything to do with race. They were just about disrespecting the country. However, CNN continues to make it about race. CNN then took it a step further and said that anyone who tries to separate race from football is a white supremacist. People who say that you should separate race and politics from sports like that is a form of pernicious kind of supremacy in itself. Many black people don't have a choice to forget about the past, said panelist and former NFL player Dominique Foxworth. When they were asking me to come on the show, they were asking me to spell my last name to come on the show. I got my last name from my father, who got his last name from his father, but if you go on down the line, it came from a slave owner. So there is not a time where I am not reminded of racism, and not reminded of this country's history, said Foxworth. So it upsets me and it bothers me that people get angry that we want to interject a little bit of reality, that these players want to act as this country's conscience on occasion, and you can't take 5 minutes to acknowledge the injustice that have gone on and will continue going on in this country because it makes you a little uncomfortable because you paid your dime. Like that's disrespectful, said Foxworth. Hillary Clinton admits she wouldn't support a woman president unless they do one thing. Ever since the election ended, Hillary Clinton has spent all her time insulting everyone who didn't vote for her. She implied that if you didn't vote for her, you are a sexist. She even said that all women would have voted for her if their husbands forced them to vote for Trump. However, Hillary admitted she would only vote for a woman under one circumstance. She has to agree with her opinions. Wow! Who would have thought? In a Toronto speech, Hillary told a crowd she wanted a female president. However, I just hope she's someone I agree with, so I can support her, Hillary said. How come Hillary suddenly understands that there are reasons to vote for someone besides being a woman? A huge amount of women in our country had no reason to vote for her. But she still made it about sexism. All of a sudden, the husband turns to the wife, I told you, she's going to be in jail. You don't want to waste your vote. The boyfriend turns to the girlfriend and says, She's going to get locked up, don't you hear? She's going to get locked up. Instead of saying, I'm taking a chance, I'm going to vote, it didn't work, said Hillary about women who didn't vote for her. Michelle Obama shared a similar opinion about women who didn't vote for Hillary. Any woman who voted against Hillary Clinton voted against their own voice. It doesn't say as much about Hillary, and everybody's trying to worry about what it means for Hillary, she said. What does this mean for us, as women, that we look at those two candidates, as women, and many of us said, he, Trump, is better for me. His voice is more true to me. To me that just says, you don't like your voice. You like the thing you're told to like, said Michelle Obama.